Hi, this is Alessio, Rastani, leading trader. Hope you're well. I had a very interesting question recently from one of our subscribers, and the question was this: is it possible that this particular drop in Bitcoin, this drop you've seen in Bitcoin, is actually a false breakout? In other words, it's just a bear trap, and perhaps Bitcoin could just recover very quickly and go back above 6,000 again. In other words, the question is this. The question is that, let's just zoom back a little bit. So more precisely, what the question is that perhaps Bitcoin has just done another false breakout, just broken out of that 6,000 support level, and perhaps soon we could see Bitcoin going back above 6,000 again, in which case that would become a false breakout or a bear trap. Now, let me say this. I personally do not believe that this drop is a false breakout. I don't think this is a bear trap. I'll give you three very important reasons why. Firstly, we already have had two false breakouts back this summer. You may remember this summer, back in June as a matter of fact, we had a breakout below the February lows. These are the February lows, as you can see here, and we had a breakout from below that level, okay? And notice what happened next. Very quickly, Bitcoin recovered, went back above the 6,000 support, and then staged a rally higher, okay? Now that was a false breakout, definitely. We had another one, as you may remember, back in August. So in August of this year, we had something very similar. We had a break of the 6,000 support level, and then notice what happened. Very quickly, it recovered again and staged a rally. Okay. Now, one of the most important criteria for a false breakout is immediate recovery. That's what you need for a false breakout or indeed a bear trap. You need a recovery very quickly. So when price breaks the support level, it needs to somehow recover within at least 5 bars or 5 days, if you want to call it that. And that's what happened in these scenarios. And if I just show you what happened here just recently, so you'll see that last week we had that bar that broke the 6,000 support level. And you'll see that so far we've had 5 bars in Bitcoin, or 5 days, you want to call it that, but still no recovery above the 6,000 support level. If this was truly a false breakout, which I don't believe it is, then we should have seen a quick recovery above the 6,000 support level by now. Now you might say, well, hang on a second, maybe Bitcoin could still recover in the next 5 days by the end of the week. Well, sure, that's possible, but I don't think it's likely, and I don't think that's very probable either. But let's just consider it for a second. If Bitcoin manages somehow to miraculously get back to 6,000, here's what's something very likely to happen, which is this. Imagine you are someone who had bought Bitcoin at these levels, okay? At maybe the 6,000 or just above 6,000 levels. What do you think you'd be doing when Bitcoin comes back to 6,000? And remember, a lot of folks out there are not long-term holders of Bitcoin. They're not all hodlers. There's a lot of people out there who just probably bought Bitcoin for a short-term trade. And remember, a lot of these folks out there are not professional traders. They're probably panicking right now. So what's going to happen is, even if Bitcoin manages somehow to get back to 6,000, the most likely scenario is that these people will use that opportunity to sell their Bitcoin holdings. In other words, what's going to happen is you will see Bitcoin failing at the 6,000 level and dropping back down again. And what's more, let's not forget short sellers. Short sellers also will take control and push Bitcoin if it manages to get back to 6,000. So what that means is this. If this is a false breakout, which I'm not saying it is, and I don't think it is, Bitcoin has to very quickly recover, get back above the 6,000 level, and not only that, it must also get back above the 6,500 level as well. It must break above 6,500 if this is a false breakout. Now, just think about that for a second. That is a huge hurdle for Bitcoin. It has to break 2 resistance levels if this is a false breakout. And again, I don't think that's likely. I think that even if Bitcoin gets back to 6,000, we're going to see huge selling pressure at this point taking effect. Again, people unloading their Bitcoin holdings and short sellers taking control and pushing it back down again. And I will also say this. I think it's quite unlikely that Bitcoin is going to get back to 6,000 anytime soon, because we got huge downside momentum on Bitcoin. A pulse downside pressure momentum coming through on Bitcoin. And as long as that momentum is pushing against Bitcoin, it's quite likely we're going to see further downside pressure. All right, guys, hope this video has helped. And if it has, please give it a thumbs up. And also please subscribe for future updates. Thanks a lot.